because I've seen like the way that you conduct the lessons, and I liked it. It was yeah, I like that it has also like new words and expressions and
But then you already know this lesson. Why are we even doing this?
um, that is true. Yeah, yeah. If it's the same lesson, yeah, maybe it's maybe we should do another one. Yeah, we can talk about entrepreneurship.
But
I
I
think
just
it
started
was
recording. Now we have to do this one.
okay. Okay, yeah, let's be that. I mean, maybe it's the same words, but maybe we'll. Who knows? Maybe we'll reach different conclusions. And
Maybe, but you haven't seen that video in a long time, so
yeah, it was like 1 year before.
let's go ahead and start with some reading.
All right. Different people like to consume information in different ways. If you are creating amazing content that's going to help lots of people, then you should be shouting it from the rooftops. So don't be afraid of promoting your content.
Nice.
Yeah. I do have some content created this week.
What kind of content did you make?
I created a Facebook and an Instagram story with a 30 seconds video with me talking in that part of the Toastmaster speech.
Like the introduction?
It's yeah, it's 30 seconds. It's not from it's from the middle. It's like the interesting part.
Mm-hmm. And how did it go? Did you get good feedback?
Yeah, I did. I did get good feedback. Yeah, and also some girl actually wanted to know more about this course, and I think she will be joining. So yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was. I can send you somehow. I think I can send you the message.
Yeah, I think maybe we can. I'll take a look at or I'll listen to the message maybe later. Let's try to,
Yeah.
because I want to be able to listen to it several times and maybe write down some feedback or something. So I can do that before our next meeting. For now, let's go ahead and try to focus on the activities in this.
All right.
This lesson.
So okay, terms. Shouting from the rooftops to share some news or information publicly and with as many people as possible. Consume, eat, drink, ingest, or use up. Contribute, give something in order to help achieve or provide something. Components, a part or element of a larger whole, especially a part of a machine or vehicle. How do you say it? You said vehicle?
I say vehicle.
Or vehicle, okay.
Yeah. But sometimes I say it fast and the H is not very obvious.
Vehicle. Okay.
Questions?
Who is your favorite content creator? Yeah, I think, well, when I'm thinking of content creation, I mostly think of YouTube. And then I'm not sure I have a favorite content creator on YouTube. Lately, I've been watching some podcasts. There's this Romanian guy. He's a radio anchor, I think. I've never listened to him on radio, but his podcasts are very well done because he has a lot of very interesting guests because he's very popular on radio. And then he lets them speak, and I mainly listen and watch for the guests, not for him.
Yeah, that's
so
kind of
maybe
how
it's different from what if.
That's kind of like how I watch Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan sometimes he gives opinions, but he usually lets the guest talk the most.
Yeah, Joe Rogan is also very nice. but he has like 50-50. He talks 50%, whereas this guy he talks like 10% or something.
Don't you feel like it would be more natural if they both talked a little bit more evenly? Because talking only for 10% makes it like an interview.
Yeah, it's a bit like an interview, but I care most for the ideas, not for the being a conversation. So if it's not a conversation, it's fine as long as something interesting comes to me. And he had this Google head of marketing from Google Romania, and he was talking a lot about longevity, how to live up to 150 years, and that's a subject which I'm very interested in. And he had a lot of interesting things to say.
Yeah, I mean, with technology, we're probably gonna live to be like 1,000 years old. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, hopefully. Right now, it does. Right now, it doesn't change. So right now, I think people look better. I mean, they look like they are 50 all the time, but then they still die at 80 something.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to most people don't really prioritize their health as much, and that's probably why they don't live that long, in my opinion. But a lot of people also look for like the shortcuts in health, like patches, to look nice. Like I don't know, I don't want to say that makeup is bad, but makeup kind of does that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, makeup and surgeries and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's go ahead and talk about the second question here.
Why they consume their content? Yeah, because of I want to learn something new most of the times. It's also for entertainment, let's say, but I mean, I do consume their content, like for instance, if I'm on the road or I'm just driving for a couple of hours, and then I prefer to consume some podcasts than to listen to music many times. So but some of these podcasts are very interesting on themselves, and I would consume them at any time.
But do you feel like you're actually paying attention to everything that the podcast is saying? Because I notice when I'm driving, sometimes I go into like this focus zone, and I'm better off listening to music because I don't listen to what the podcast is saying after a certain point. It's not because I can't pay attention, but because driving kind of puts you in a flow. So I end up not listening to the words,
Yeah, I understand that. I get this with audiobooks. Audiobooks are very hard for me at least. I'm not an audiobook guy. I tried and I always have to rewind and rewind. But for podcasts, I think it's a bit different because there are people talking and it's not someone who reads. I mean, if someone writes a book, they write it for it to be read, and if someone writes a play, like a theater play, they write it in a different way. And then when you read a book, you have to use the original words, and it's very hard to follow. But in podcasts, I think for me it's fine. I mean, I don't feel like I'm losing anything. Maybe there are some ideas which I'm losing without me knowing, but usually it's fine. And also I don't know, like when I'm driving, I'm okay. I'm very relaxed. And I mean, like driving, like outside the city, not.
Yeah, it's different.
not in the rush hour.
I know what you mean. I think you're right about the audiobooks because they were meant to be read, not listened to. But some are designed for that now. But podcasts, I feel like, are the most natural because, especially if it's like a conversation between two people, then it's much more easier to follow because that's the most natural way that humans are used to communicating.
Yeah, and podcasts also, I mean, you don't have to watch to look at the screen. So it's like two people talking and whatever. If you don't look at the screen, you don't lose any.
Well, I would say that looking at the screen is actually, it still brings a lot of value. even if it's just cameras on the person's face, like Joe Rogan's.
Yeah, I mean, you see the emotions and so on, and yeah. But I mean, if you're driving, you don't lose much. But
Yeah.
if I were to look at some other vlog, for instance, like, or it would be more difficult.
Exactly. Cool. Let's go ahead and move on to some reading.
All right. Content creation is the contribution of information to any media, and most especially to digital media. Typical forms of content creation include maintaining and updating websites, blogging, article writing, photography, videography, online commentary, the maintenance of social media accounts, and editing/distribution of digital media.
Nice.
Media. Find out what questions, problem your audience has, and answer them in an informative, easy to consume way. Understand your target audience well and invest time in research. Once you know what kind of questions your audience has, then it's just a case of developing a system that works for you.
Nice, very good. Who is your target audience? I guess that depends on what kind of content you're making, right?
Yeah. Well, the content which I did was like Facebook stories, like 1 year ago.
And that was for yourself, right?
I mean, yeah, my purpose was for me to become better at, I don't know, whatever, like speaking, at telling a story, telling a joke, things like this. So it was meant for me.
Yeah.
But I also had an audience, which were my Facebook friends. So it was very broad audience. It wasn't like computer audience or, technical or.
Exactly. I was gonna say you have connections as well for like a technical audience, and when you want to reach them, do you just use a different platform?
Yeah, I didn't want to reach them. If I want to reach them, yeah, I do have a blog which it's called Vlad on Programming, WordPress.com, something like this. And there I post some stuff, but very seldom, really, like once in a decade. And after I post, then I also shared that post on Facebook so that my real friends can see it and comment on it. And I also try to like post it on Reddit so that, like people from the international medium can see it.
Yeah. Careful with Reddit though, because sometimes people on Reddit are just the worst.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I mean, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead.
Let's
go ahead and move on to some reading.
Mm-hmm. Regardless whether you decide to create online video courses, conduct live lessons, organize a webinar, or operate a blog, content is essential. You should focus on it and pay significant attention to it. As it is said, content is king. It is content that drives people, grabs their interest, and helps them make decisions.
Yep. I was watching YouTube the other day and I saw a video that was talking about content, and they said that people are competing for your attention, which is more valuable than anything else.
Attention, yeah.
Your attention.
Also, Christy talks about the attention, yeah.
What does he say?
That like that time is not the most scarce resource, but attention is. So he's saying that it's more important than time.
Mm-hmm. If you think about it, it makes sense, because when someone's actually paying attention to something, they have to be consuming energy to actively understand what's happening. So, there's different categories of attention. You can have like active attention and then like passive attention. The theory is when you're in a conversation, you should be like actively paying attention.
There's the fear. Yeah, I mean, for instance, like 2 years ago, I think more, I used to play online chess with my friends, and it was a game where you'd have like 1 day to do the move. And during this day, the whole time, I was like thinking in my mind, in the subway and so on, about the table, the pieces, and what should my next move be. And after 2 months, I was still there. I stopped it because it was consuming my entire attention. So every time I was like thinking, what should I do? What should I do?
Well, is that necessarily a bad thing?
Yeah, because I mean, I was putting all my attention in that area in chess, and usually my attention is also like in work. So for instance, if I go to the shower, I start thinking about what I'm working on, and then, maybe I should try this, and then I come, or like when I'm shopping or so on, I think of, hey, maybe I should try this one. And then the next day I'm trying that one and it works. So
when something like that happens, like, do you write these things down or do you just let them simmer in your head?
No, I don't write them down.
You definitely should.
Sometimes I should. Yeah.
You always should.
Yeah.
Just make a list and write them down.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I what I do is don't write them down, but just record on phone. This is my thought, and it's like 10 seconds recording, and
I mean, whatever works for you, but usually just try to capture it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because if you
exactly,
don't, you're gonna forget about it.
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, like you have this great idea, and then 1 hour later, it's gone.
Yeah. That's the reason why writing every day in a journal is super useful, because if you do it every day, it's like you're releasing these ideas in a format that's like conducive. So every day you kind of get that out, and then you're kind of like fresh in terms of like the stuff you have to remember. Because don't you feel like you get bogged down by like all the stuff that you have to remember to do?
Kind of. I mean, for the stuff that I have to do, I do save them in a file, and they don't bother me down. But for the ideas that I might forget, I think it's best to write them down immediately, not to wait like for the daily journaling time.
Yeah, but it's like a backup, because if you can't write things down immediately, maybe you'll remember when you go write in your journal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to some terms.
Okay, position. Put or arrange someone or something in a particular place or way. Sporadic. Occurring at irregular intervals or only in a few places. Scattered or isolated. Coherent, logical and consistent. Prominent, important, famous. Following, a body of supporters or admirers.
Nice. So you kind of talked about the first question here. Why don't we just skip to the second one?
What value does your content bring to the viewer? Yeah, so I mean, my Facebook stories are like entertainment purposes only. So it was like stories and, I mean, jokes or like stories. I don't know. I bought something from Amazon. I was very amazed of how well the Romanian postal system worked in that case. It usually is a very bad system. So it doesn't, I mean, it's not like this latest story with me talking on Toastmasters. I think it brings more value because some people may also be inspired and they might sign up for these public speaking courses, and then there is a very clear value in that. Yeah. And the jokes, I don't think it's a very I think it's also, I was like I was saying, they were meant to bring value to me mostly, not to the viewer. So they weren't shaped for the viewer specifically.
I see. So when you're making this kind of stuff, are you thinking about the viewer?
Not really. I was mostly thinking about what I think it's interesting, because it's that if you do stories, you're limited to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you have to be quick, be fast, and be short. And I think that helps me a lot, because like you've said, I tend to speak with many words and say an idea which could be said in 10 seconds, in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's not you. It's I think Romanian culture.
Yeah, maybe Romanian, but also I think I'm more inclined to do this.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
of my family history. I don't know. I think
maybe it's the way your family prefers to communicate. I noticed that
yeah.
certain regions of Romania have certain styles of communication, and some of them have a tendency to do this kind of stuff more.
Could be, yeah.
At least that's what I noticed. Let's go ahead and continue with some reading.
All right. One of the key components of content creation is being able to understand your target audience. Understand the problems that they have and the questions they are asking. From there, you can set about creating content that's going to start to build a relationship with your visitors. By giving people helpful information, you've positioned yourself as an expert.
Nice. Some people have a hard time doing that. They feel like they're a phony if they try to position themselves as an expert.
Yeah, could be. I mean, I understand.
Here's the thing with that though, like you don't have to be like the best, you just have to be better than whoever's listening to you. Because as long as you have more experience and you're talking from experience, then that's still valuable even to a person like them. But if they have more experience than you, then you know, from their perspective, you're not really an expert.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot, especially on YouTube, it's clear that you cannot be the expert in everything. And I mean, if you have a broader audience, if there are 10,000 people watching, I think there will be 10 who are definitely more experienced than I would be. So
yeah, but that's still good, because when you talk about stuff, they can give you feedback, they can correct you, they can give you like advice. That's also kind of their, in my opinion, it's kind of their obligation, because like you said, you can't be an expert in everything, and even experts make mistakes.
Yeah, and I don't know if being an expert is the purpose here. I think it's if you help, or if you bring helpful information to most people, I think it's perfect.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go ahead and move on to some questions.
Who creates the content that you consume? Yeah, so mostly, podcast creators. There's also this girl now. She's called an influencer now, even though she didn't start as one. She's a former television news anchor, and her also Romanian. Her most watched video, I think, is how she quit during live news presenting. So she said, God. Okay, yeah. And so she creates this content, and what makes her content very special is that she can talk for so she has very long vlogs. It's like 1 hour long, but it's so interesting that you don't feel time passing by. It's really, she talks for 1 hour, and she's very articulate, and it's
well, based on her previous experience, I can see why.
Yeah, I'm sure it helps. I mean, yeah, and that content I'm mostly listening to try to, I don't know, to steal some of her techniques, but it's also like it's very captivating. And she tells about her high school life and so on, and it's are just there and you listen and it's very interesting. It's very
Who is
it's
she
very
though? Like
weird.
what is she? Well, I guess what was she known for before? Was she just a news anchor, or what did you say she was?
Yeah, she was a news anchor, and she wasn't in the main station. She was like in a county station, the seaside. So it was only a few people would watch that station from Constanza. So she wasn't known before. She wasn't like a TV star or something. She's known now. I mean, she's known on YouTube because she explained how she quit. That's what made her famous, not before.
Yeah. Okay. And so who else do you watch? Like, what are their personas of the people that you watch? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they business people?
There's also Christy. I like how Christy makes his videos. Well, they are mostly inspired from this American guy. I don't know the name right now. A very famous blogger.
Casey Neistat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Casey Neistat. Yeah. You know him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also looked at a few of his videos. Yeah, and so like, yeah, the personas which I'm mostly interested in is like creative, not necessarily entrepreneurship or.
Gotcha. And
like
so for when you think about these creative people, what kind of, I guess, if you look at their lives, like where did they live? What did they do every day? What do their lives look like? Because this is what really, when I thought about this is what really clicked. Something clicked in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I'm not sure if it's something that they do because of they are YouTubers and they like, most YouTubers, they start with cold showers. And they want to create some content and maybe they don't have ideas, and then I think they'd look at other people and say, okay, this guy is doing cold showers. Why don't I do cold showers?
Or okay, in my opinion, that's not very interesting. But I guess the point I was trying to get at is, if you look at Casey Neistat's videos, before he moved to New York, he was making nice videos, but it really took off when he moved into a place where he was surrounded by the right kind of people, in an environment where he had a lot of creativity and where a lot of stuff was happening, like New York would be, because it's a big city. And he wasn't just living in New York. He was like
before.
Yeah, he had a ton of experience with video making. He was making small time videos, but only when he moved to New York is when he really took off. I guess it's probably multiple things, but in my opinion, what really made the difference was having an interesting environment and an interesting place where you live. Because I was living in the suburbs, and I was like, my goal was to grow my Instagram for photography as fast as possible. And then I realized that ultimately the biggest bottleneck was my lifestyle. I didn't have an interesting lifestyle, because without an interesting lifestyle, I didn't have interesting things to take pictures of. And then without interesting things to take pictures of, my Instagram channel will not grow. And that same rule applies to vlogs. And that's, I think, the reason why Casey Neistat's vlog took off, because he moved to a place where he had a lot of interesting stuff to vlog about.
Yeah, he also had his most interesting videos are the Nike commercial.
Yeah, but I mean,
and the other one, which was him riding a bicycle because he was fined by the police for, I don't know, for getting out of the bicycle lane, and then he said, okay, I will just stay in the bicycle lane no matter what. And that
sometimes I want to do that here.
That was his breakthrough. Yeah.
No, you know what I'm gonna do that? I'm gonna do that on like next generation technology. Like, I'll buy myself some electric rollerblades or something and try to send a message.
Yeah, as long as they don't kill you, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that his persona and the fact that he was living in an interesting lifestyle, I think that combination is what really made him grow and made his content really exponentially expand. Which now, if you look at
I have a
Christy,
different opinion, but I think I agree that it definitely helps. So yeah,
now
for
like
sure.
let's look at Christy's videos. If you look at them now, they're not what they used to be. And what they used to be were like vlog style videos similar to Casey's. And that's because he was living a very interesting and varied lifestyle, traveling to places, lots of things changing. Now, he's just living in Bucharest, and he's been in Bucharest forever now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, yeah.
See, the thing is,
I mean, he had some good videos with New York, and yeah, which were very interesting, especially like when he presented how life is in Google. And
yeah. But his life hasn't changed much when it comes to that, so he doesn't have much to talk about, I guess. That's more relatable in that way. And like, if you look at Raul, he's doing more traveling, but he doesn't have the video making skills that Christy does. So he doesn't capture the audience in the same way. And it makes a big difference.
He could hire the same videographer or...
No, I don't think hiring anyone is going to solve it. No, it's going to be way too expensive. Like, the vision has to come from him. That's the whole point. The creative vision has to come from him.
What I liked about Christie's videos, I mean, on the part which I've seen copied from this guy Casey Nesta, was that, you know, like always writing down on a piece of paper something and showing, hey, this is why it's ABC, and then like, I mean, it was very simple technique and very, very effective to understand something, to scribble something on to film a piece of paper like multiple times with different, instead of creating very complex animations and so on. And that I liked a lot, all this.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with video making is that you can achieve the same goal in like a very creative ways. You don't have to use the standard formats and the way that people are used to, as long as it gets the message across.
And also, I'm a very visual guy. And for me, if you explain to me something in a drawing, it's clearly much easier for me to grasp.
I mean, it's not just you, it's everyone. Humans are typically much more visual. It's one of the reasons why I really focus on Instagram, because it's a very visual platform, and it's just pictures, or at least it used to be. Because videos make everything exponentially more difficult. So I didn't want to spend too much time on that.
Yeah, I think they're the future, if you ask me.
They are, and luckily now AI can help us make videos much quicker.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and continue with some reading.
All right. At its heart, content creation is about answering questions, solving problems, and entertaining. Content creation is about more than just putting out sporadic, random pieces of content. It's about forming a coherent plan to continually publish high-quality pieces relevant to your audience, in particular, your perfect customer.
Nice. Some more questions.
What's the workflow like for the type of content that you created? Yeah, so let's talk about these stories. Some of them were like, I had an idea, or like, for instance, I remember now, I read a joke, something that if you, I don't know how to, it's not translatable in English. Anyway, there was this joke, and I took like multiple shots of me saying the joke until I did what I thought was a good one. And then I uploaded it to Facebook and so on, and that was it. Other type of stories were like really one shot. Like I was, for instance, I read something which really made me angry in a coffee shop. I was in Starbucks. It was something about some corruption thing with some guy not being judged. And I put the phone on the table in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
I have this headphone which isolates the noise from outside and so on, and I filmed myself right there. It was like, I don't know, 1 minute and a half, and I put it as 3 different stories on Facebook, one after another, and that was it. It was really.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes when it comes to workflow, you have to take action in the moment, because if you don't, you have to capture that stuff. You have to capture it in some way, because if you don't, it just goes away.
Yeah. And then I got mixed feelings from. I mean, some people said that it's rather hard to understand, and they try to follow all these stories, but they couldn't. So then I created a YouTube video with me writing on the computer, because for me it's, I don't know, it's my preferred way, and I created drawing and so on with what happened with that person and the corruption and how he got away with some of the takes and the facts and so on, and that was it was more difficult to make, to create.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here's the thing though, when you start getting into like more creative approaches and angles, they can kind of slow you down. That's why I think having a workflow that's very efficient and simple is really important, because you don't want to get slowed down by the logistics of using technology or whatever other stuff you have. Like if you have to wait for your application to load, or you have to find a very specific pen and paper, then you're gonna lose track of what you're trying to say, or you're just gonna forget.
Yeah, that is, I think, for me at least, one of the most problematic thing is the editing part.
Yes.
I also created one for work, and I had to explain something to my coworkers, and the filming part and with me sharing the screen and so on, it was like 30 minutes. And then it took me 4 hours to edit it.
Well, that's the thing. Editing is one of the bigger bottlenecks in video production. And if you're good, it can be quick. But even if you're good, you still have to have a lot of creative vision with editing. And sometimes it doesn't matter if like the footage is bad. So the person capturing the footage and the person editing have to work very closely, or be the same person.
Yeah.
But I think,
and for the Facebook stories, I try to put them as raw as possible, so without much editing.
Yeah, but now there's also AI tools that can do the editing for you and cut out the boring parts and add captions, because it can be very time consuming to add captions and then to cut out the boring parts. So if you just go to these AI tools for video editing, there's a lot out there now. They can cut out the boring stuff.
I've seen some ads, for them. I didn't add any captions back then, and I think one of my friends said, "Hey, it would be much more interesting if you had captions, because otherwise I have to unmute and so on and listen to you, and it's complicated. Just add captions." And I said, okay, whatever. I won't. It takes me too much time.
It takes a lot of time. I used to make these videos that explain board games in 30 seconds, and I started adding captions, and captions literally doubled the amount of time it took for me to make a video.
Yeah, interesting. And these videos were public, or like were they for?
No, they were. Yeah, the channel is called 30-second board games.
Okay, nice. I will search for it. Yeah, let's see.
Just a heads up, I also have another meeting at 11, so I'm not gonna be able to go over.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess my internet's a little slow right now. Why isn't it? There it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look.
I haven't uploaded videos in years. I'm thinking of.
Yeah, when I started with the stories, I also thought of like starting to create something like publicly, like putting on YouTube something, but I didn't find any idea, and I don't want to blog about my personal life, but like, for instance, this thing that you are saying, explaining board games, I think it's a great idea. I have to find something like that, like.
Yeah, and let's actually skip ahead to one of these questions, because the whole idea for that channel is to collaborate. So the voiceovers in the video are actually done by other people, not by me. Every single video has a different person doing the voiceover, and some of the videos are the actual game designers of the game that's in the video.
Very nice.
Yeah, I started making good progress, but I stopped making videos. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess the point is like it was all about supporting other creators and supporting the games. So these questions here are the ones I want to talk about. Let's talk about the second one.
What have you done to support your favorite content creators? Well, I have, so most of them I didn't support at all. But this girl that I was telling you about, this
Well, you supported Christy.
for
You employed in that program of his,
well, yeah,
right?
I supported Christy, yeah, by applying in his program. Yeah, that's true. Because he became very famous for his vlogs, and then when he started his program, yeah, we were already there. Yeah, so yeah, okay, that counts definitely.
For sure.
It definitely counts. It was a lot of money. Um, and I also support this girl by she has an association,
Mm-hmm.
and they try to renovate schools and like get money to and they like build toilets in schools and stuff like this, or like they buy tablets for the kids, or like they bought two ambulances
Mm-hmm.
for some hospital, I don't know. And so she has this association, and I signed up as a volunteer. And right now they have a second-hand clothes shop, and I've been on there, I think, once to arrange the clothes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
I think that's good.
mm-hmm.
I don't think you should really underestimate what you can do to support them, because oftentimes it's not just about the money. It's about other stuff too. Let's talk about how they influence your life though. So let's talk about that first question.
Um,
Since we only have a few
yeah, I mean,
minutes.
and some of these content creators, because this is what I was telling you, that they start very different, and then all of them they become very interested in productivity and waking up at 5 a.m. and doing fitness and doing
I
cold
disagree.
showers
Not
and
all of them, but the ones that you end up following.
yeah, probably could be. It's definitely, I'm interested in all this kind of stuff, but I've seen that I mean, which I've started following, and they didn't have this lifestyle, and then they turn to this lifestyle, and I don't know if maybe it's, I don't know. It's definitely something which I'm interested in.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, I've read something. I mean, I think I'm more productive because of these vlogs.
I mean, at least you get to see things from their perspective and understand a little bit better of maybe why.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that we hit the good questions. Let's talk about the second one here on the screen.
The second one.
Yeah.
How does content creation help you develop and grow as a person? Well, I think it helps you a lot if you do the content creation, not if you consume it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I truly believe it develops you a lot, because I've seen some. There was this vlogger, I don't know the name right now. He was a fitness vlogger, and I've seen like the beginning. Though I went to his history like 10 years ago, and it was alive. The difference was huge.
Yeah.
Of how he talks right now and how he used to talk. And yeah, I think just exercising this helps you a lot to grow your how to express and words and
yeah,
but especially the way that you express.
But that depends on the type of content you're making. What about finding new content to make, finding new ideas, having an interesting,
And I think it helps you become more creative and maybe it helps you like as a person, like you're saying, if you want to create and then you find out that your life is boring, you change your life, and then I think it definitely
Well, that's what happened
helps
to
you
me.
develop as a person, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So
And to be honest, I think that's a big reason why a lot of people struggle with making some good content, because ultimately, I mean, depending on the type of content they make, ultimately it's about having a nice, consistent stream of good ideas that you can actually take action on.
yeah, it helps.
Yeah. Cool. That's pretty much it for today's lesson. What did you think?
It was very nice. Yeah, I should. I think. I mean, we also discussed last weeks about this that I stopped doing the stories because of one person, and I'm trying to get back to it. So
Maybe that's not really the format that's the right fit for you, but maybe it was the format to help get your foot in the door. Maybe you just need to find the right format that's the right fit for you.
maybe there's a better format, but this format, I think it was right for me because it was being short. So I think it helps me to try to
be concise.
To be concise, exactly. And I had a lot of fun doing this. And it also didn't take a lot of my time because it's like 30 seconds. And then even if you edit them, you cannot spend 5 hours on a 30 seconds video, So
Yeah.
So also time wise, it was good for me. And I had a lot of fun. So
That's good. I mean, it's all about
I
having fun,
remember,
because as long as you're having
yeah,
fun, you can do it consistently, and it's not going to be difficult. If you're not having fun, it's going to be hard to do it consistently.
yeah, exactly. It was really fun. It was really fun for me. I remember like I was doing like 5 takes in the yard, and I was like walking through the yard and talking.
You should try doing something like that in the middle of the city. Just do it with people around you.
Yeah, I had some stories like that, and some of them were like in the old town in Bucharest, and I was talking with my my phone, and
Nice.
it was nice. Yeah, yeah.
All right, Vlad. Well, I gotta go now, so I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in our next lesson.
All right, see you now.
And also, you'll see this video on
Bye.
YouTube soon.
Okay. Cheers to that.
See you.
See you. Bye bye.